Good day, everyone. Today, I will show you how to use the REST API in order to create the system. So the system piping has a variety of features. It can you can search a song with this, um, add a certain song to a playlist, create a playlist, to rename a playlist, to delete a playlist, and also, of course, the user's playlist from its Spotify account. So here, first, the first thing we do is to log in our Spotify account. Good. So this time we will walk through the back end of our Bible system. So here we imported all the details that we needed um, for the system. So we have the productive, express, the sticker, string, course, and also the back. So productive, let's ask load a secret file, the secret are file, and also we have express helps us to create the and also we should sending the HTTP request, and we also have query string that help us to follow URL, course that allows our front and back end to communicate with each other, and lastly the path that help us to locate the file the file from the other the file from our HTML file. And I also have this block of code in which we um, find our express and um, tell the express uh, uh, tools that we're going to use for the system. So we have this line that allows the front end and the back end. This one that let our system um, read JSON data from the client's request, and we have it that serve our front end files. And we also have this line, this line that store the link of this Wi-Fi token endpoint. So this is the place where we're going to ask later on for the access token exchange of that code that we will input earlier when we log into the Spotify or to the Lighting system. So this time we're going to proceed with the block of code, which is this algorithm. So remember created by by earlier that that token. So when we click that one, the front end um, redirect us into this code or this endpoint. So using this endpoint, it redirect us back to it redirect us in page like it on Spotify along with this or the list of permission we want to ask to the user. I want to ask to Spotify that or we want to ask to the user allows us to read its data to modify its data and yeah that's it. And along also with the our Spotify client ID and also yeah that one. And after that, after the user log to Spotify, um, it um, redirect us again to this callback endpoint. In which the callback endpoint process of like exchange of the code that the Spotify have given to us to like exchange into access token and within an access token made in order for our system be recognized to be recognized by Spotify so that um, once we have that access token, like can um put it in a person, can use that uh, like it acts like an ID something that um give us permission to access users data from the Spotify from its Spotify account. And once we have the access token, back end will redirect us back again to the front end, in which um, katong, in which katong, remember when after um, you put the when you input the code to the Spotify sent to your email, it redirect us or it bring us to the dashboard. So this is the block of code that process that um, this one, which redirect us to the dashboard along with the access of its URL. So um, this is the block of code or the first block of code that that implement that process the first feature, which is by getting or yeah by getting the playlist. So once we click the get playlist from our dashboard screen, once we click that, it direct us to the endpoint in which the front end brings the request here along with its along with the access along with the access token in its header. So the first thing is to check if the access token that the front end brings actually exists. And if that access token exists, it will proceed to this block of code. Um, if um, however, if the access token does not exist, it will basically print this statement. So in this block of code, um, it processed the operation of getting the user's playlist endpoint. So after getting the playlist, um, it redirect way back that the response of the response back front end in a JSON format. And if the process or the delivery is successful, it will um, um, basically you can basically see or yeah you can see the playlist that is included on the interface. While if however the delivery is unsuccessful user. So now let's proceed to the next block of code, which is um, responsible for creating the list. And so this block of code defines and expresses the details of creating the list um, system. So when the front end sends the request to this endpoint, to this one, the back end first extract the authorization from the request header and user ID, the name, the visibility from the request body. So if is um the token is missing, um, the server will eventually respond with an error status. So if the token is present, the backend uses status to send the post request to the Spotify endpoint, which is this one. So it passes also the playlist name, uses the settings in JSON format, and header includes the authorization token and uh, specified that content is in JSON. So if Spotify successfully creates the playlist, the response data from the Spotify, which includes the data about the playlist, is sent back to the front end. However, if an error occurs, such as invalid token or network issue, the backend catches it and return a 400 status along with an error message describing what went wrong. And that is how this backup code process the create playlist operation. Now let's proceed to the another backup code. So this code is used to update Spotify playlist, like when you want to rename the playlist. So when the request comes in, the code gets the authorization token from the header. So this one proves that the user is and also gets the ID and the new name for the request body. So if there's no token or the token is missing, it immediately sends an error saying the authorization header is missing. If the token is valid, it uses Asus to send input request to Spotify API, specifically to the URL that updates the playlist. Inside the request, it includes um, the new name and the token uh, Spotify uh, in the token, so Spotify knows making the changes. If the Spotify if the Spotify updates the playlist successfully, it sends back the message saying it worked. But if something goes wrong, like a invalid token or a playlist ID, the code catches the error and sends an error message back to the user. So basically, this code job is to take the update request from the front end, send it to Spotify to make the actual change, and then return the result back to the user. Now let's proceed to another block of code. This code is used to delete a playlist from the Spotify. So this is to delete the request. So when the request comes in, the code gets the authorization token from the request header. So this token, what they tell us that the Spotify user is logged in and was and has permission to delete the playlist. If the token is missing, the code immediately sends back an error message saying authorization header is missing. So if the token is present, the code um, uses issues to send a delete request to the Spotify API at this using this URL. And this tells the Spotify to remove the playlist from the user. And if the delete process is successful, the backend sends a response back to the front end saying the playlist is deleted successfully. However, if something goes wrong, like if the token is invalid or the playlist can't be found, the code catches the error and gets the detailed message and send it back to the error response saying the delete process is failed. So overall, this code actually takes the request from the user, confirms the um, it confirms also if they're allowed to do it, and tells them to remove the playlist, and then reports whether it worked or not. Now let's proceed to the on which the search mode or the so block of code is used to search for a song in Spotify. It get request using this route. So when the request comes in, the first thing it does is to check or to get the access token to the request header, um, and also it gets the research query from the query parameter. So this is the text that you type in the search bar, um, in the search query. So if the token is missing, then it will response to this error message, and also um, if the if there is no um, if the user did not input um, any song, any query the parameter, so it will also cause an error and basically um, return the error status. So if the token and I mean yeah, if the token and if the query is present, then we'll proceed to process this block of code. So the server will immediately send, or I mean, block of code the issues, send it the get request to Spotify API using this URL. So in that request, it passes three things, which is token, the search query, and the X parameter that specify the type of search. So, and also the limit result is 10. So once this bit hits Spotify responds, the code sends back the physical track result from that. So if something goes wrong with that, like invalid token or search, the code catches the error and gives a message and sends back a response saying that the search is failed, along with details of what happened. So overall, this code lets the user type a song name in your app and sends the search request to Spotify, and then it returns the top 10 matching tracks back to your front end. So let's proceed to the next block of code. So this block of code process or manages the adding tracks to a playlist. So it sends to a post request. So when the request comes in, it checks um, when it gets the authorization token from the request header for the user and has a permission to modify the playlist. It also gets the playlist ID from the URL and track URIs from the request body. So URIs are the special Spotify ID that identify the specific song you want to add. So if the token is missing, it sends an error message saying that the authorization header is missing. So if the token is valid, the code uses Azure system request to this Spotify immediately using this URL. So this allows Spotify to add the given track in its playlist, and the token is included in the header for the authorization, and the content is set to JSON to Spotify so that the Spotify knows how to read the data. So when the song is successfully added, the backend sends in a success message back to the front end saying that the track is added successfully along with its option with its which is um which is the Spotify way of tracking its playlist. So if something goes wrong, invalid token or this ID or I the code catches the error message saying that the process is failed along with the detail about the error. So overall, this code connects your app to the Spotify Notes app. Let the user add a specific song to the playlist by setting the tracks you need in RA. And now let's proceed to our last operation, which is feeding the songs to the playlist. So this um, if you play out the song by playlist, we get request. So like the other block of earlier, the first thing it does is to um, get the authorization access token from the request header, and also it's the um, playlist ID. The token is present, it will show the again if the token is missing, it will print this out. If on the other hand, the token is present, um, um, it will then uses issues to um, it uses issues and get request to Spotify API using this and this as the Spotify tracks or the songs that given its ID. When the Spotify responds, the backend takes a list of the songs that we use and sets that data and so the user can see the playlist track on the screen. However, if something goes wrong, or for example, if the playlist ID is incorrect or the is invalid, the code catches the error and sends back saying failed to switch tracks along with the data. So basically, this code job is to get the list of songs from specific Spotify playlist by connecting the Spotify API and then return the data to the front end displayed to the user. So here we have the last two block of code in this backend and file. So the first block of code in this one tells the server what to do when someone visits the page. So basically, when the user opens the system or the site in their browser, so this line sends back the index file from our public folder. So it's like saying hey server, if someone is visiting the site, on the main page of the system. So this the second block of code, which is this one, basically starts the server. So here the code first checks if there's port port number saved in the environment file, which is in here, or environment setting. If not, it will count that this up starts the express server. So it's like turning on the machine. So once it's running, it is this line lets you know if your plan is up and ready for you to open the main browser. This will be the end of my presentation of the platform codes. I can the server as the back end of the banking system. So as you can see, the presentation I showed processes every operation we have in our banking system. So basically, it uses the um, are the to the post and the delete and also are